In fact, even if we change the law for Shabir Ahmed, which we of course should do, it's very likely, in my view, that he would use the ECHR to try and stay here, just as thousands of other foreign criminals, probably including this Afghan case, do as well. And that is why we need to come out of the ECHR to stop foreign criminals and illegal immigrants weaponising the ECHR to stay in the United Kingdom instead of being deported. It's one of the main reasons we need to leave.
The Immigration and Asylum Bill will get its second reading in the House today. The Home Secretary Shabana Mahmood is using this opportunity to remove a legal loophole that prevents the UK deporting Shabir Ahmed, the Rochdale grooming gang leader. But the Times is reporting that Home Office officials have drawn up compromise plans to appease Labour MPs that would allow up to 1.6 million immigrants settle after 5 years instead of 10. Chris Philp is the Shadow Home Secretary. He joins us now. Chris, morning to you.
Good morning, Stig.
Home Secretary is going to change the law to deport Shabir Ahmed. Will you back the government to do that? Will you support that?
Well, yes, we've been calling on this for some weeks now, so I'm glad she's followed our suggestion. Although I do think it should be done in emergency legislation that can be done in a matter of a few weeks, rather than as an amendment to a bill which might take a year to get onto the statute books. But yes, of course we support it.
Can it be done? Can anything be done to expand it out further? Kate raised the issue with the government this morning of an Afghan rapist who can't seem to be deported. We have a problem deporting to Afghanistan. Is that just a question of we have to have better relationships with Afghanistan? There can't be anything legal that compels someone to be deported?
Well, I mean, Germany is deporting people back to Afghanistan, so it can be done. I suspect the issue with the Afghan case, and actually many other cases involving foreign criminals, is that they use the ECHR, the European Convention on Human Rights, to prevent their deportation. I've seen hundreds, thousands of cases where criminals and people who've entered the country illegally using the ECHR to stay here, usually Article 3 or Article 8. And in fact, even if we change the law for Shabir Ahmed, which we of course should do, it's very likely, in my view, that he would use the ECHR to try and stay here, just as thousands of other foreign criminals, probably including this Afghan case, do as well. And that is why we need to come out of the ECHR to stop foreign criminals and illegal immigrants weaponising the ECHR to stay in the United Kingdom instead of being deported. It's one of the main reasons we need to leave.
We've got a new Prime Minister coming. I mean, without being too party political about that, do you think you should keep the Home Secretary in place? You know what it's like with these government departments, constantly chopping and changing. There is a view that Shabana Mahmood is on the more robust side of the ball when it comes to matters like immigration. Do you think he's got a responsibility, Burnham, not to chop and change too much in a department like the Home Office?
Well, I think the first test of both Andy Burnham and Shabana Mahmood is whether they stand by their own proposals to have a 10-year ILR path, to make it harder or to make it take longer for people who've entered the country to get ILR. There are reports today that actually they're going to water those plans down in response to left-wing open borders Labour MPs, and it'll be an early test of Andy Burnham and Shabana Mahmood as to whether they've got the strength to stand by their own proposals, which they made a few months ago. And by the way, if they table those proposals unamended, undiluted, we would support them. But it looks like Andy Burnham is planning to capitulate, to give in to those left-wing Labour MPs and dilute the plans so that people can get the permanent right to stay after just 5 years, which of course carries things like rights to benefits as well.
A couple of people asked this question, listeners, because a couple of people mentioned today actually the fact that Germany have this relationship with Afghanistan. They can deport people back to Afghanistan, but Germany's in the ECHR. So our listeners are kind of interested: how can Germany manage to deport people to Afghanistan while remaining in the ECHR, and we won't be able to do that?
Well, part of it is the way that our own judges in the UK apply and interpret the ECHR, because it's not just the court in Strasbourg that makes ECHR decisions. Because of the Human Rights Act 1998, every court in the UK can apply the ECHR as well, and they do it in a very, very expansive way.
So do you think our judges are more expansive in that sense than German judges?
Yes, to some extent, yes, they are. And there are shocking cases. I'll give you an example. There was a Zimbabwean paedophile who was convicted of abusing children in the UK. At the end of his prison sentence, he should have been deported back to Zimbabwe, as our law requires. But a UK judge, using the ECHR, said, no, because this paedophile might face, quotes, hostility back in Zimbabwe, that would breach his human rights, and therefore he can stay in the UK where he poses a threat to children. But what about the human rights of children here to be protected? That's just one example amongst thousands of the way the ECHR is used by criminals and people here illegally to stay in the United Kingdom, and that's frankly why we've got to leave.
Yeah, interesting that UK judges are more likely to use it than German judges, from what you're saying. Small boat crosses are down, though. I think we should reflect that this morning as well. 40% year on year. And this is over a time of extremely good weather, Chris Philp. So whatever else might be going on, there is some success. Do we not have to acknowledge that the government in reducing small boat crossings, 40% year decrease?
Yeah, well, don't forget, last year was a huge year. 41,000 people last year. I mean, this year so far, 12,000 have crossed. There was one boat a couple of days ago with, I think it was 120 odd.
It was the biggest ever. But my point is, the peak was 2022 when you were in power, and 40% year is down year on year. So it's come down in this year, which is the second year of a Labour government.
Well, it's mostly been because the waves have been quite high on the English Channel. I've got an app on my phone which I check every day called Windy, and it's the app that people smugglers use as well. And I can see the wave height in the Channel most days this year has been quite high. That is the main reason the numbers.
So irrespective of the weather being good. So actually, because we all look at the weather and think, well, the weather's amazing.
Well, hang on, but sunshine here is not the same as waves on the English Channel. But look, frankly, 12,000 people so far this year illegally entering the country. There was a period when there was calm weather about 3 weeks ago, and 3,000 people crossed in 2 weeks when there was calm weather. That is far too high. It needs to be cut to zero, and the only way you do that is not by putting illegal immigrants up in hotels. It's not by allowing 95% of small boat migrants to stay in the UK, which is what's currently happening. You know, if you've got 95% chance of staying, get put up in a plush hotel. No wonder people are leaving France to come here. The way to deal with this is to make sure that within a week of arrival, people who come here illegally get deported. But to do that, you need to leave the ECHR, ban them from claiming asylum, don't allow any court proceedings, do what Australia did.
And provide a Rwanda-style third country for countries you can't send people back to.
Yeah, so either deport people to their country of origin, or if that's not possible for some reason, a safe third country. Australia did exactly what I'm describing about 13 or so years ago, and within a matter of a few months, like 3 or 4 months, the crossings they were experiencing in similar numbers stopped entirely. So there is a clear template which Australia developed and deployed. They called it Operation Sovereign Borders 12 or 13 years ago. That is what we need to be doing, because 12,000 illegal immigrants so far this year is too many. 3,000 in a couple of weeks is too many. At the back end of last week, I think over 500 crossed in just 2 or 3 days. That is too many.
Yeah, that's a fair point. Equally, it's still 40% down year on year, which is the point we need to give for context, I think, there. Chris Philp, good to speak to you.
Thank you.
He is the Shadow Home Secretary.